Amanda from Pontes Books here with the Chapter 21 vocabulary focus for the Prince and the Pauper. Today's vocabulary focus really comes into play in Chapter 20, but in Chapter 20 and Chapter 21, it's pretty important. So since I chose to focus on hermit in Chapter 20, I decided to do this one for Chapter 21. Our word for today is Archangel. And it does still relate back to our hermit because it is something that he is claiming to be and is part of what he tells Edward about his past, I guess you could say. So when we look at Archangel, what he's talking about, what the hermit is talking about when he says he's an archangel, is he means that he is one of the head messengers from God to the people. So again, he's a man of the church, specifically Christian, specifically Catholic Church. And so when we're talking about God in this case, we're talking about the Catholic faith. And so angels are messengers from God to people on earth. And specifically an archangel is like the highest type of angel that there is. Some other characteristics, though, there are many different faiths that do feature angels. It's not just Catholicism or even Christianity. There are other faiths as well, that feature angels also. Some other examples. So these are kind of synonyms, but I tried to go outside of the realm of just religion too, to take into consideration some other terms that had some similarities, but not exactly the same thing. So a cherub, so that is, typically like a synonym for an angel, but then a spirit or a supernatural being. So something that is not quite human. They go beyond what is human or natural and interact with some sort of supernatural world. Some non-examples, again, some of these are from religion. Actually, most of these are more with a religious twist, but could be interpreted to be non-religious things too. Devil, evil one, or fallen angel. So those are just some examples or definitions having to do with the term archangel. The etymology of the word can be traced back to lots. It can be traced back to both Latin and Greek. And if we look at Greek and we look at archangelos, it actually translates to chief angel, and that arch part of the word actually meant chief, or kind of like head leader, if you want to look at it that way. So some sentences and additional forms. We have our straightforward sentence. Archangels in art are often shown as being very strong and masculine. So not a ton of context there telling you about what they are, but they are often portrayed in paintings and sculpture and art, especially if it's pretty old. There's probably, if it's got some religious undertones, you'll probably see some angels, and then in there some archangels specifically. From the chapter, so like I said, this was actually introduced in chapter 20, is where the hermit actually reveals that he is an archangel. But in chapter 21, he says it a few more times. So this is actually when he's talking to Miles Hendon, and he reveals who he is. So he says, "It is a secret. Mark thou reveal it not. I am an archangel." So that's when he's talking to Miles, and that's when Miles realizes, like, oh, maybe that's why Edward, or his friend, listened to what he had to say, was because he wasn't just a regular man, he was an archangel. And other forms, archangelic would be an adjective form of this word. So that's a little bit about the word archangel. Hopefully you learned something. Have a good rest of your day.